Hi everyone, it's Patricia from TarantulaHeaven.com. This is Miss Spidey in here, hidden in the background, not probably going to come forward for you, but anyway. Once again, apologize for my nasally voice. I'm recovering from whatever variant we are on with the current pandemic, so that is why I am a little bit lower energy today and probably for quite a few videos. Anyway, today we're talking about false widow spiders and how they use pheromones to manipulate male spiders. And I find the dating practices of spiders particularly interesting because, well, it just seems really brutal. You know, I mean, we talk a lot about how females, particularly female tarantulas, live longer than male tarantulas in most species. We talk about how the males will usually be eaten or injured or killed during a mating ritual, and now we are finding out that false widows are manipulating their male counterparts with their pheromones. This particular research comes from Simon Fraser University that was done on false widow spiders, which are a globally invasive species. These species reproduces year-round and actually often lives in buildings. This is also known as a common species like the cupboard spider. And so while very little was originally known about its reproductive behavior, we are now learning more. So Simon Fraser University discovered that female spiders communicate with their male counterparts by using pheromones to construct more attractive webs, and this is to lure mate-seeking males. So basically, the females put these pheromones into their webs, and this attracts the males, and then when the male arrives, they induce courtship from the male. And what the research identified was the organ that produces these pheromones, which is the posterior aggregate silk gland, and they also found out the chemical structure of the pheromones involved in the courtship behaviors. And so I understand that that might sound very simple the way that I'm explaining it, like of course the spiders produce pheromones and that goes onto the web, and then the males come looking for a mate, and then the courtship happens. But it actually is a little bit more complicated than that. This is what one of the doctoral students, Andreas Fischer, said about what they were finding. We also found that female false widow spiders have a sophisticated method to constantly male call by slowly breaking down the courtship-inducing pheromone components to sex-attractant pheromone components that lure the males in. They studied this by comparing 93 sexually mature adult virgin female false widow spiders with 70 immature sub-adult female spiders. And both of these different groups of spiders were allowed to spin webs. Then they collected the web samples and identified their pheromone components and tested the web's ability to attract and induce courtship behavior in the male spiders. And this revealed that the females were actually able to actively adjust the attractiveness of their webs to males, and they were able to fine-tune the pH levels in their silk, which allowed them to control the enzyme involved in the transition of contact. So it turns out that these female false widow spiders are actually able to actively time their pheromone production and dissemination. Previously, only insects were known to do this and to actually be able to modulate the amount of pheromones that they emit, but it actually turns out that web building spiders can also do this. So when we think about all the things that are actually going on with the female spider kind of fine-tuning the pH levels of her silk, basically making a scenario that actually does seem highly manipulative of the male spiders. There's actually a lot involved in this process. So I find the details in that study actually really, really interesting, and I will link the study below. That study was published in the Nature Communications Biology Journal. I will leave any other information about it below, but it's actually really, really cool. And I wonder if that just applies to false widow spiders. It probably doesn't if we were to study it a little bit more. I find that, you know, the more we find out about one species, that allows us to find out more things about others. So I wanted to share that very interesting dating anecdote. I think spider dating is a very interesting, sometimes terrifying subject. It's just really cool to learn about just how intricate some things that we think are actually very just simple are actually not that simple at all. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I will see you next week for Tarantula Tuesday. Take care. Bye-bye.